All right, good morning and welcome to Dr. Chef's Crypto. I'm Dr. Chef, and this is the CSW series. This is our new series we've been doing about personal financial analysis, how to analyze your situation and hopefully this will help you build wealth, understand your next move, etc. So this is episode 3. Useful tool, because this CSW concept is a useful tool, and you can figure out several things, foresee problems or foresee advancement opportunities using this concept. So that's what we're going to go through today. This is episode 3, useful tool, as I said. If you don't know what CSW means and understand the cash, stash, and worth concept, please look back at the previous videos, and you'll see all that you need to know there about what this is all about. So, as usual, I'm not an official financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is education and entertainment purposes only. So let's get into it. Now that you know your CSW number and what that means. So let's say it's a 456. 456 is a relatively normal number for a middle to upper middle class American. 456 is their number. Their goal is 567. This all makes sense from the first couple videos. Where this becomes a useful tool is not only can you understand your position using this and your goals, but when things begin to move, this will be an indicator. So this will be a personal indicator, a tool for you to see if something's changing or moving. Let's say that you're a 456 and everything's going fine and you're shooting for 567. Let's say that one day you're analyzing it, you're looking at your CSW number, and you're thinking to yourself, I'm really a 466. Well, that is an indicator, and that's a change. It could be a problem, or it could be a very good piece of news. In the case of 466, it means that your stash is as large as your worth. Now, this is a pretty good sign. First of all, the general goal is to be going up on these numbers at all times. So anytime your numbers are going up, you're in good shape. But a 466 is out of line with the CSW concept, so it's an indicator. It's telling you something. In this case, it's telling you that your stash and your worth are the same. Now, this means that it could be your worth is low, or it could be your stash is high, right? Now, because we have the 4 at the beginning of that, we've got this 3-number chart, this 3-number chain, and that's how you can tell the movement category. So 466 means that you're a 456, but your middle has shifted up. Now, this is good. What this means is that your stash is larger than it normally would be. Well, that's obviously not a problem, having a larger stash than normal, but it means you might want to make a move. And what could that move be? Well, let's say that you're normally able to get $2,000 or $3,000 anytime you want it. You got about $50,000 in a various different savings and high return accounts, and you got $500,000 worth a house and a car and things like that. That's your 456. Well, if you've got several $100,000 in your stash, maybe it's time to invest that. Maybe it's time to put some of that stash into your worth. This way, your worth will grow, and eventually your worth will become a 7, your stash will be a 6, and your cash will become a 5, and you'll become a 567. This is how you go from 456 to 567. One of those numbers starts to move. Let's say you're a 556. A 556 tells you you've got way too much cash on hand. You need to put this cash into a safer position. You need to take some of this cash and move it to stash, and probably take some of the stash and move it into worth. And this might make you fairly quickly into a 567. So you see how this works? These 3 numbers can help anchor you in one direction or another. So if you see them moving up and you see a 466, it means you're on the way up. So anytime those 3 numbers are anchored and the last 2 are equal to the third, so the 2 and 3 are the same, that means that you are going to be on the way up. That's an indicator of positivity. Let's say it's the opposite. Let's say those numbers are anchored on the low end. Let's say you're a 446. A 446 means that you are a person that owns something, but your stash, your savings, or high interest accounts, or money that you can access as a stash is low. It's low as your cash number. This means that you don't have the protection that you need. If you're a 446, that 6 is in danger. You could be about to shift to 345. This is a problem. So this is also a useful tool in that it can show you a warning sign. So if your first two of the CSW, if the C and S are equal to the number of the C, then that's a negative indicator. You're moving down. The numbers are too low. If your S and W are equal to your W, it's an indicator that you're going up, right? If something suddenly shifts higher, then what you need to do is move things into connection with that. So let's say you're a 567 and your 7 shifts to 8, and now you're a 568. The way that works is you've increased your investments. You've managed to get a higher worth, but now you need to bring the other two into line. So if you're a 568, this is great news. Forward upward movement is great news. But what it means for you is your 5 and 6 are lagging. You don't have the cash availability and the stash needed to support that 8. You may have gone out on a limb. Think about this like we used to think about in the neighborhood. Like I grew up poor and in sort of the hood, basically, right? So think about it like this. You have somebody that's a 2, 3, 5. We used to call this cash poor, right? This person can only get their hands on like less than $100 cash, like they're poor, and they don't have but a few $100s in a can, but they have a nice car, and they used to drive around the car and act like they had all this, and that is a bad sign, right? They're showing off with their worth number, but the worth number is too high to be protected and supported by their cash and stash numbers. That's a low end example. That's a 235 or a 345, 346. These are signs that someone's overstretched themselves. It's called cash poor in the old days. They've overstretched themselves. However, it can be a good sign. If you're a 457, it means that you are operating like a relatively normal American middle-class person with a 4 and a 5, but you've got a million plus in worth. You've got some things, some businesses, some properties that are worth more than you necessarily should. And this is great because if you can utilize all that worth, you can bring up your CS to be in line with your W. In general, this needs to line up. Whether it's 4, 5, 6, or 7, 8, 9, this thing needs to line up. And whenever it shifts, it's your tool. It's your way to see a movement. You're 5, 6, 7. You're living the dream. You're what they call upper class. Maybe you're a lower upper class American. You're a 5, 6, 7. You're doing great. What they used to call a millionaire, which we've already discussed, we probably shouldn't call that a millionaire anymore because of the way things have shifted. But let's just say you're a 5, 6, 7, and you're living the dream, and you make that 7 into an 8. What you're trying to do is get more worth, more properties, grow your wealth, your overall worth, right? You're building wealth. Building wealth is going to be it's like chess moves going forward, right? So you're a 5, 6, 7. When that 7 becomes an 8, that's your indicator. You now have double-digit millions worth of worth. You can use that in all kinds of ways. whether it's credit, whether it's cash, whether it's payback on investments, you're receiving checks and dividends and returns. What's happening is you're making your moves. You're making big moves, and your 5, 6, 7. When that 7 becomes an 8, it means you're going to bring that 5, 6 up, and pretty soon you're going to have a 6, 7, 8. Right? So upwardly mobile movement forward on the S&W are what you're gaining, and your C comes along with that. Your cash comes up. Once you're sitting on double-digit millions, it's not hard to get, even double or triple-digit thousands anytime you need, right? You can pull money out of things. You can do all kinds of stuff. So your stash should come up with your worth, and you usually go one at a time. So this is why this is a useful tool. If you notice that your stash has increased to equal your worth, it's time to invest more. If you've noticed your cash has come up to equal your stash, you need to put more of it into the stash. If you've noticed that your worth has jumped forward and you've gone up a number and there's a disconnect, it's time to bring your cash and stash up to be equal to that whole new world that you're living in. Every time you move this, 4, 5, 6 becomes 5, 6, 7, or 5, 6, 7 becomes 6, 7, 8. Every time you move all the numbers forward, that's like, in football, when you've made that down, you make that next giant move. So this is time for celebration. If one of them is moved independently, then it's an indicator, and you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing as indicated, and you need to make adjustments. So that's why the CSW is a useful tool, and that's how you can use it to see what your progress is. Right? So if I'm sitting here as a 5, 6, 7, my goal is simple. Move those numbers up. Probably one at a time. Probably 5, 6, 7 becomes 5, 6, 8, and then 5, 7, 8, and then 6, 7, 8. That's probably how that looks. So that's how you use this. It's a useful tool to analyze your movement up or down. It's a warning as well. So that's your CSW series, episode 3, how to use this whole thing as a useful tool. Have a great day. This is Dr. Chef signing off.